It is going. Oh my goodness.
It's
I actually
Friday
want to cry.
What's that?
I really do. I
You
actually want to
what?
cry. No, because like over a year or so ago, I was like following you. I was like, oh, I like these girls, Witch Finger podcast, and then like a year and a half later, now I'm like talking to you. So it's just I'm speechless. I am like
Oh,
so speechless. You
really?
have no
Honestly,
idea.
dude, like, we're just one and the same. Like, we're just people who love horror movies, and it's funny how social media works. Like, now we're friends, you know what I mean? Like, a year and so later, like, I remember the first time I noticed you, like, immediately right away, I saw your passion in your
Mm.
videos and like your inspirational quotes like in your posts and stuff like that. Like I just knew right away. I was like, yeah, we're gonna be friends. Like she's such a genuinely amazing human being. And then you asked me to do this and I was like, yeah. This sounds fun. Well, how are you?
I'm doing great. I've been busy, very busy myself. Oh my goodness. Like since June, it's a lot of things has just been non-stop. And so
I
I'm
hear
just
that.
so like, I'm so thankful. I have a long way to go, but I feel like I found my niche. I found what
Yeah.
is me. And well, it's been me since I was, kid horror, but to
Mm.
find exactly what I want to do with it is like,
It's
it's
amazing,
unbelievable.
right?
Yeah.
I know, it's such a good feeling. Like I actually not too long ago went back to school and I was like considering a career in the medical field and
Oh, wow.
yeah, like it was very stressful and tumultuous and I knew that obviously if I stuck with it that it would have paid off in the end, but then like I don't know. I mean, you could have all the money in the world, but if you can't, like, if you're not happy inside, like, it won't mean anything, right? So I feel the same way. And I started the podcast like right around the same time that I was in school. And
Mm-hmm.
then, yeah, things just started accumulating like in my life. Like the podcast was starting to like get bigger. And then I started working for Rue Morgue. And then I was like reconsidering school. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like what I do now, it fulfills me, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what's important in life. It's not just about like money and accolades and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So this is a wonderful thing. Like I've made so many friends like just through the horror community. It's incredible to be able to, you know, bond with people who share the same passions.
You know, it leads to something. But it so far, it's led me to sit here to talk to you. So anything is possible.
And
Anybody out
like,
there, just keep doing your dream. You never
yeah,
know. You never know.
I mean, like, you're obviously doing well. Fucking Tony Todd was on your show, and Barbara Crampton's gonna be on next week. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, that's
Oh.
incredible. That is so incredible. Like, good for you, dude. Like, I saw Barbara share your photo,
Mm.
and I was like, oh my god, like, amazing. Like, good for you. You deserve it. You deserve it. I can tell that you put a lot of work into what you do.
Being creative and stuff has always been in my life. I just didn't know what to do with it. And when I went to film school, my teacher would tell me, "What is your niche?" And I was like, "I don't know." She was like, "Well, you're good at so many things. You need to find something that you could zero in. I mean, it's good to
Yeah.
have all these things in the background, but you need one thing that could make it something that you could do forever, your career, your whatever it is." I found my niche and it's working, and so
That's
that's
awesome.
why I say the Oprah of horror.
I love that. I
because
love that. You call yourself that. The
because
Oprah of horror.
because she's so good at talking to people and sitting down and getting information.
Yeah,
She's just, and I was like, that's what I want to do one day.
that's
I want my
amazing.
own talk show, but just
Yeah,
horror. Like I
yeah,
want horror icons to be my guest on the show, and like a talk show.
yeah. I
one
think it's
day
a
one
great
day
idea.
one day.
Yeah,
But
I actually seriously believe in you. I think that you could totally do it. The thing that I think, like, something that we have in common, like me and you and Oprah, is the fact that, like, we're very, you know, like, we are very vivacious people. And
mm,
I love to make people laugh. And but we're also very serious people, and we tackle serious issues that are very important, you know. So we're like kind of both, like at both spectrums of like the personalities there. So obviously, like I think, yeah, I mean, it's paying off. Like we're talking here, and people are enjoying talking to us, and you know, like watching us talk about it, and like it's just, yeah, it's pretty cool.
So I asked you to come on here because we want to talk about, if you guys are joining, top 3 cheesy horror films. And there's so many cheese out there, but they're fun. They're meant to have fun and make you laugh.
Okay, when you reached out to me and told me the subject matter, I was like, okay, first of all, you reached out to me and you were like, do you want to come on my show sometime? Like, we'll do a live thing. And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, it sounds awesome. And then you were like, pick top 3 cheesy horror movies, cheesy 80s horror movies. And I was like, oh my God, like, fuck, this is going to be so hard. Like, how do you pick 3? How? It's like impossible. Like, people always ask me, like, what's your one favorite movie? And I'm like, it's so hard to say. You know what I mean? Because it's like, there's so many genres, and then there's subgenres. So when you messaged me, I was like kind of thinking about, like, while I was choosing my movies, I was actually dictating like the description of cheesy in my brain. Because in my opinion, because okay, I chose like 3 very different movies. And in my opinion, cheesy could have very many different like subgenres of like cheesy movies. Like there was like cheesy movies that are like so bad that they're good, and then there's ones that are like so bad that they're bad, and then there's ones that were like made with the intention of like being on the cheese scale, and then there's the ones that were like, we meant for this to be serious, but then it turned out to be like a pile of shit, but then people love that kind of stuff. And then there's cheesy like low budget, there's all sorts of like kind of, I feel like different kinds of like bad movies and stuff like that, right?
So there's no particular order, but I'm gonna try to put it into the first one. I picked was The Nest, and I think it's meant to be serious. It is serious. It's so cheese. But if you're afraid of cockroaches, this is just not the movie for you. But they did a great job, I think, making it seriously and has some quirkiness into it and some ridiculous into it. But it turned into, you know, like, okay, we got to get off the island. We got to do this. We got to do that. I found it just very enjoyable. I saw it when I was a kid. So when I saw cockroaches, I was just like, ah!
And that cover, like, that's one of the greatest VHS covers, in my opinion. Like, with the woman that's being, oh my God, that's hilarious. I think I actually have it, like, right now.
It's probably backwards for them, but.
Oh, yeah.
That is like.
Is incredible. That's awesome.
You think you're going to get this, but.
Oh, I know, right? That's like every fucking movie cover.
Especially 80s, it have like, you know, women half naked, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna see that, and you're sitting there like, wait, where are the women?
I know, right? It's so true. But yeah, The Nest, I actually just recently watched that like for the first time about a year ago, because I didn't own it, and I finally got the VHS, and I wrote a blog about it, and the ending, I actually can't not deal with how good the special effects are at the end of the movie in that cave. And it makes me so sad that it's very limited. Like, it's so short. I wish we got to see more of that, like, crazy, like, morphed monster. Like, that shit was fucking awesome.
It was awesome. The cat too. I called it a cat roach. I don't know what that was, but I was like, wow. It was like watching the ReAnimator cat to the extreme.
Yeah,
it took it to another
level. Makes me think too. I have to mute that part because my cat can't handle the sounds of that cat when I'm watching it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's like too much for him. What I also love about The Nest is that guy though, the sheriff dude. I always forget his name, but he's a very dapper man, and I know him from Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Yeah, he was on an episode of TNG. I grew up with TNG, and he's on an episode where he like totally bangs Beverly Crusher, and he's a stud in that too.
I think his name is it Robert?
Oh, I can't remember.
Robert King. Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, yeah. So, but yeah, The Nest. If you haven't seen it, please watch The Nest. It's like a bugs, and more bugs.
It's true. Yeah.
It's an awesome. So, what did you pick?
Okay, so one of my first picks is I figured that I was like, okay, top cheesy movie. Immediately, like the first movie that comes to mind is Troll 2. Troll 2 is like the epitome of like the king of like bad cheesy movies. And it was funny because like while I was trying to think of which movies to talk about, it didn't come to me right away. And then when it did come to me, I felt stupid. I was like, I actually was like, oh my God, duh, like obviously it's Troll 2. It's like they made a documentary about it being like the best movie. It's so over the top.
Yes. Okay. I haven't seen that movie probably since I was a little girl. And I was like, Trolls 2. I was reading about, oh, it's so bad. And I was like, oh, let me sit here and watch. I sat there the first 13 minutes, I was sitting there, was like, I am so mad at her. I was like, I'm going to tell her about herself. That movie was, I don't even know what to say. I don't want to say it's a bad film because everybody has their favorites.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't want people not to watch. You got to watch it. But, it's just, I don't know what to say.
It's bonkers. Like that movie, you know what? I strongly believe that movie kickstarted the like obsession of bad movies. Like, cause I remember watching that in high school, and then that immediately like made me obsessed with trying to find out every bad movie that has ever been made. And like it's so over the top. Like it's so ridiculous. Like there's a fucking sex scene with the corn on the cob and then it like turns into popcorn. Like, do you remember that?
I was like, when did this turn into Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
I know.
It was just popcorn flying everywhere. I was like, what?
It was like all like sexy and like getting into it, and like it's just obviously everybody knows what the like the oh my God.
Oh.
And then they're going to eat me. Oh my God!
It's just like, it's seriously one of the worst movies ever made, like in the horror genre, because like me personally, like I love bad movies, but most of the bad movies I own are actually not even horror. Like Rotor is definitely my top favorite like bad cheesy movie, but like when it comes to Troll 2, there's just something so special about it because
it's very special.
It is. It's so absurd, and like what's even more absurd is the director was serious. Like
I know, that's what I got out of it. I was like, this meant to be serious. Like the whole time I was like, okay, this is not intentional. This is serious. You could see that right from the back.
And that's what makes it comical. Like the fact that he was like seriously thought that it was a good idea to like put children in like potato sacks and like those terrible like paper mache like troll masks and stuff. And like I just love that it has nothing to do with the first one. And I will admit that like I love bad acting, but like the witch, that girl actually tried, and you can tell like she's the best actress in that movie.
Definitely. But yeah, you guys gotta watch Troll 2.
I'm always like, I'm actually always like surprised when I find out people haven't seen it. Like I'm just like, what? Like If you love bad, cheesy movies and you've never seen Troll 2, that's like the epitome of the cheesy, like top cheesy horror movies. So it's
Yes.
definitely a must watch. Witchfinger did an episode on it, and like it was so long ago, I don't even remember. But at the time, like Megan had never seen it, and it was like, oh my god!
Oh my goodness. Woo! That movie, let me tell you. Okay, so
It's
my
special.
next one, out of my top 3 cheesy horror films, Street Trash. Street Trash. Oh my goodness. Street Trash. I saw that movie with some friends and their parents and my mom. We were all sitting down. Yeah! Hey,
Who's that?
I grew up watching horror films with family and friends. So we're all sitting down, we got food, and it was at a friend's house, and they popped it in, the VHS, and we were all sitting there, ha, 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 ha. And then it was like, when the guy went to use the bathroom, we were like, wait, what? And then he like threw it, and you see
Dude, seriously? Okay.
this like genitals flying, and we were like, and then our parents, nobody cared.
That's amazing. You sound like you have an awesome family. And when you told me that you were choosing Street Trash, I was like, okay, I got something to admit. I've never seen, like, from, like, beginning to end. Like, I've never seen the entire movie Street Trash. I've only seen, like, bits and pieces. Like, I've seen the part with the guy that goes in the toilet, obviously, and comes out and he's all like, ah. Every time I tried to watch it, I was always, like, super drunk, and you get distracted, you talk with your friends and everything, but then when you told me that that was one of your picks, I was like, okay, I'm going to throw it on, because it's on YouTube, while I clean today. I was, like, messaging you, like, the flying penis, like, oh my god, like, that part, I obviously never noticed that part before, and, like, I'm a huge advocate of having like more dicks in movies because there's just not enough of them. There's too many, like an absurd amount of boobs compared to like penis, and like it's not level, it's not balanced. And that part is like probably the second best part in the movie, like in my opinion. Like I was just laughing so hard that like a severed penis is like flying around. Oh my god!
I know. And then the girl, it fell on her when she was holding the doll, and she was like, "Oh," and put it under the dress. And then the guy was like, looking at her like,
"Oh my fucking god!"
He's like the ringleader of the bums.
The ringleader of the bums. I know. And like, what happens to him at the end? I don't even know. Like, was it like a gas tank or something? That like,
yeah. It was like some type of gas tank, and then like he finally got his feel that he's been trying to get the entire time with the lady that works as secretary. So she like jumps over his head, and he's like, ugh.
I love trauma, but I'm not like a massive trauma fan. Like that doesn't mean that I don't like it. That just means that I actually don't own that many trauma movies. And the reason being is because it's so oversaturated. Like there's so many fucking titles that they always like pump out like every year. It's hard to keep up. And so I do have like some trauma movies, but they are definitely like the kings and queens of sleaze. I mean, you know what you're gonna get like when you watch a trauma movie, and it's so funny that like all these years I hadn't really seen the whole movie, and I just put it on today like while I was cleaning, and I was laughing out loud like to myself. Like even just the dialogue between the bums is just like absurd. It's funny for sure. I can't believe you watched it with your mom.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, we grew up. Well, my first movie was The Thing with my parents. So
that's awesome.
And then I've seen everything. I've seen, oh my goodness, everything with him. So, and my sisters, cousins, we made it a family. We would go to the burger stand, you know, when those were popular. Grab our food, throw pillows on the floor, VHS tapes, the local video store, and just go to town watching the worst of the worst. And sometimes, I mean, the sex scenes in some of these horror films were just like,
like with the corn on the cob, you mean like that?
No, a lot worse.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I will admit,
a lot worse.
I do love Troma a lot when I'm watching it. It just makes me really miss Brooklyn because all those movies are filmed in New York, and I love New York. So every time I watch Troma, like I'm just like, I miss Brooklyn. So my second pick for top 3 cheesy 80s horror movies. This one is cheesy because it's a low budget movie, and I'm a big fan of low budget movies, and The Video Dead is my second pick. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just everything about the movie that I love so much. Like the first time I watched it, I remember like I was like with some friends and my ex-boyfriend, and then like when the movie was over, he was like, "Well, that was terrible," and I was like, "That was like the best movie ever." Like, there's so many good things about that movie. It's just, yeah, it's a really low budget, and the director basically filmed it on weekends because the cast and crew had real jobs like during the week. And I love that Michael St. Michael's from The Greasy Strangler is in it for like literally 2 minutes. And it's like he took a break from acting and then he comes back 20 years later with The Greasy Strangler. It's like so random. Like, who is this man? And it's funny because like I'm a big fan of creature features and slashers, and like I'm not knocking zombie movies, but zombie movies aren't like, they're not like my top like favorites. Mm-hmm. But like there's just so many aspects to The Video Dead that I just admire and love so much. Like one of the biggest in my opinion is the fact that the zombies come out of the TV. So obviously, like, I mean, big box TVs, we grew up with those. And you can't have your movies without your TVs. So the fact that they incorporated both those aspects together, like horror movies with like a TV, I thought it was just a genius idea. And I just, again, with the bad acting, his sister though, she's you can tell that she tried.
Yeah,
sure.
I think she was the better out of all of them.
She was.
I think there's some editing problems too, because you would see them do something and then they're at the next and you're like, what happened in the middle? Like, it shouldn't be. There was one scene I fell to the floor laughing so hard I almost fainted. When I was sitting there and I was like watching this and I was like, okay. And I guess you have, you know, one of the zombies looked like he could be part of the band of Flock of Seagulls. And he was like, blue. I was like,
so he's the guy he's the blue guy. I love him. It's like, they stuck like fucking toilet paper on his face and like sprayed it and painted it blue. I guarantee that's what they did.
It was blue. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So when I guess he was after her because, you know, he saw a picture of her and he was like, ooh, you know, he'd start to fall in love with her. And I love how these zombies had emotions. They were jokesters. I mean, it was kind of like, well, this is different. They had personalities.
Zombies, they take somebody and like stuff them into the like the washing machine. There's a reason why the zombies like all have like characters. Is apparently, I can't remember the director's name. He's also the screenwriter. It's like Michael Scott or something like that. But he actually the original script had like past lives of like the zombies like before they died, like written into the characters. So like that's why like there's a zombie like husband and bride, and they were just getting married, and then they died and became zombies. And then the blue guy, actually he died by drowning, so that's why he's blue.
Oh.
This is a thing that I do. I'm kind of like OCD, but like when I'm watching a movie, I have to read the trivia on IMDb. It's just like a thing that I do. I'm super nerdy like that, so I just like to know everything. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? I was doing that too, but it still feel like there need more explanation. I was like, wait, what? But the scene where he was like, he creeped up behind her and she turned around and saw him. And then the next scene, she was on the floor. And I was like, well, did she faint or is she going to sleep? Yeah. Like, I laughed because it was so sudden.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's the
kid.
That I love about the 80s though is that like they just didn't really care that much about like continuity and like editing and stuff like that. And obviously they had like their budgets like that were constrained back then. But it's just, yeah, like, I mean, it's basically something that, another thing that I just admire about that decade, because like, yes, I can see that boom mic, you know, it's just like, like you know, like, back then they probably saw it too and they didn't care to edit it out, you know what I mean? And it's like, those are the types of movies that I appreciate more. And like, these are the types of filmmakers that like years later don't even realize that they have a fan base. And then they're like surprised. Like I have this book, Analog Nightmares, and it deals with a lot of shot on video movies, and a lot of them are being the directors are actually like interviewed, and most of them are all like, I'm surprised like people even care about my movie like Splatter Farm that I made like 3 years ago, blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, dude, like we love that shit.
This one was funny. I think it was tolerable to watch than Trolls 2. It wasn't so bad. You're just like, oh my gosh. But it was fun. The acting was bad, but it was tolerable.
Yeah.
Like I said, the sister, I was like, okay, she had some training.
Yeah, and then she just stopped acting after that. Which is funny because it's like, you actually did a good job, and
I know.
Why did you stop? Maybe it's because at the time when they watched it, they were just like, "Ooh, I'm quitting acting."
I know in Trolls 2 they did.
Oh
They definitely
my god,
did.
I know. Actually, like in that documentary, I'm pretty sure like the sister, like she's being interviewed in it, and she's like, "I took it off my resume."
Yeah. Hey, it's good practice, good practice.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
number 3 for me, the last one. So if you're tuning in, we're doing the top 3 cheesy horror films, and believe me, it was hard. But this one, I think it's cheesy in a good way, and it's Deadly Spawns. The Deadly Spawn. Is it Deadly? The Deadly Spawn or Deadly Spawns? Whatever.
It could be whatever the fuck you want it to be.
The cover of that tells you exactly what you're about to go again. Because, you know, you most, like what we just talked about earlier, like you see the cover of a film and you're just like, it's not, it may not be that way, or it may not look like that all the way. But in Deadly Spawns, that's what you get. I couldn't believe it. I watched that with the family, and, you know, we're friends, and, you know, friends and family came over and we popped that in. And the beginning, you're like, oh, okay. But when you see that spawn or whatever it was, it looks like a giant penis. Like the head. I don't know. But it did, like the penis head, and
no,
then you had the...
It's very phallic. It's like, it's definitely very phallic. Like,
actually, I have... Okay. If you've never seen it, I actually have the cover. I got
actually a very sought after tape, and I don't have it. Yeah,
that's exactly what you get, and that is good. That is good. It looks exactly it. I tell people that it's not exaggerated. It looks like that. The special effects on that was very, very good.
Yeah.
What I really liked is that when you meet this young man, he's into monster movies and stuff like that. So when he has to, you know, go head up with the spawn, he's not afraid. He's living that life anyway. So he found ways to defeat or a fight or whatever you want to call it, the spawn, because he had experience through monster movies. He used that. And I thought that was so good.
I need to rewatch it. I watched it at the drive-in at VHS Fest last year, and I don't own it, so I think I watched it on YouTube, like maybe before that. But it's a movie that I don't recall very well, but I definitely do remember the penis monster. I mean, how could you forget? But it's definitely a movie that I must own that tape, because like, I love monsters. I love monsters.
It was very hard to find that. I think I'm not sure if I got it off Amazon or went to one of these Halloween convention things, these little small, and it was there. I'm not 100% sure, but that DVD was $20. And it was so worth it because I've been looking for it. Sometimes it's out of print. You just cannot find it. I really want the VHS.
Yeah.
I really do. But because I have more DVDs, and then I was looking at your collection, and I was like, I want a VHS.
Yeah, man. I have a
I
problem.
want one.
I know. I seriously, like, I have a problem. Like, I actually don't know what I'm going to do now because I just live in a 1-bedroom apartment and I'm at my cap for more shelves. Like, I have, like, no room for more shelves and my piles just keep piling. And I'm like, I guess I have to move for my tape collection. Like, it's getting bad. But that's a movie I definitely need to own. And speaking of trauma, that like the monster in the Deadly Spawn, we were talking about how it's very phallic. It totally looks like it kind of reminds me of did you ever watch that trauma movie Killer Condom?
No.
Okay, so it's like it's a condom but it has teeth and it like bites dudes' dicks off. And it's funny, it's a trauma movie. It was filmed in New York but for some reason it's German. So it's subtitled, but like you can clearly tell that it's New York. But I met Lloyd Kaufman like the first time I met him, and I got him to sign it. And he's like, "It's weird that you're making me sign this because this isn't even like we just distributed it. Like we didn't really make it." And I'm like, "It's got like a condom. It's pretty funny." And he's like, "Crazy." Like you're the one that distributed this shit. But yeah, Deadly Spawn is definitely like. It also kind of reminds me of, have you ever seen The Suckling?
The what?
The Suckling.
It sounds familiar. What does it sound familiar?
That's a funky movie. That movie also has like, it's like an aborted fetus that turns into like a monster that like lives in the sewers. You might enjoy it, but
Suckling.
The monster kind of reminds me of like big teeth.
Why does that whole scenario sound like It's Alive?
Oh yeah, maybe. Except for it's a.
It was a baby. It was a baby that came out and lived in the sewer, and attacked people. And it had like 3 fingers, and it was like teeth.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same. Oh my god.
But the suckling is like it was like an aborted fetus. So it grows very quickly. And it's like a giant monster. Like, just honestly, when we're done, you'll have to just Google it because it's so absurd.
It sounds exactly like It's Alive. Oh, because then they had Island of It's Alive, and it was an island of them. Yeah,
It's Alive, right? Yeah, I've only seen the first
It's
one.
Alive. It's Alive again, and it's the island of It's Alive. Or
I haven't seen that
whatever.
one. Crazy Larry Cohen. May he rest in peace.
Oh my God, he was so sweet. I had interviewed him. He's one of my first interviews, and I didn't complete it. I just have his voice on tape, and I have it like sitting on. So I was thinking of maybe I'll just release it like a voice
you totally
interview.
Should.
Yeah, it's still sitting on my computer from here.
I honestly I agree with Joe Bob, and I seriously think that Q, the Winged Serpent, is the better version of Chud. Like, fuck Chud. I'm sorry. Like, Q is the exact same plot, but made way better. Like, way better.
I'm gonna have to. Oh, well, I'm gonna have to check that out because I actually like Chud. Well, it was a little.
Q.
I'm gonna have to watch Q because I've heard of Q.
Q is amazing. Q is like, it's exactly the same plot as Chud, except it's like a dragon, like a serpent creature. But Larry Cohen did that before Chud, and like I feel like Chud just completely like ripped it off. But
okay, I'm gonna have to.
Moving on. We could seriously talk about like so many things.
So your number 3.
Okay, oh my God, I can't believe how quickly this is going by. We've already done your 3?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so we're down. Wow. Okay, so we're down to the last one. My last top 3 80s cheesy movie. In my opinion, this one is a classic and is a very well-respected movie. It's obviously cheesy, but it's a fantastic movie. ReAnimator. ReAnimator, in my opinion, I mean, it like immediately when the movie begins, like the fucking guy's like eyes bulge out of his skull, and he's like, "Ah!" Like. There's just something magical about Stuart Gordon, like his scripts and like his all of his films are incredible stories. Like, yes, some of them are like based off of like Lovecraft and stuff like that, but like he brings it to the table in a way that like has cheesy moments that we'll never forget, like watching like Barbara Crampton have a severed head like try to eat her out, but like in between like all the cheesy scenes, when you're watching it, like it's captivating, and he's always stuck with the same group of crew and actors, and there's a reason for that, like because they work so well together.
They do.
My honestly, like Jeffrey Combs, in my opinion, is like he's one of my favorite actors. Like, you know, when you're watching a movie and you can tell when someone has like a theater background, like you can just tell that Jeffrey Combs, like, and like Stuart Gordon, his wife, like they used to own a theater company, you know, like back in the day and everything. And it's just when you're watching these movies, like it's like the you kind of like relate to the characters, like whereas like when you're watching something silly like Video Dead, you know, like it's amazing and I love it, but it's still like it's like haha, you fucking idiots, like getting you know killed by these dumb zombies and you're awful actors, and it's like a fun time and everything. But like Stuart Gordon's movies are like they captivate you in many different aspects. Like you really feel for Barbara, and like the cat scene, like that's another movie that I have to mute like that part because my cat hears the cat and he's just like his ears go back and he's like, is there a cat in here?
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's just it's incredible. Like even the part in the morgue, that's one of my favorites too, when they reanimate that dead guy and he's like fighting them, like, and like actually I don't know if you, this is so funny, everything comes back to dicks. There's a dick in that movie, and I never noticed it before, but there's one part at the very end when they're in the hospital and Bruce Abbott, there's like carnage everywhere, like there's a dead body like laying on the floor in the hospital, and Bruce Abbott is like running and he jumps over this like naked dead body, and you can definitely like see that dead body's ween for like half a second, and I never noticed.
Oh wow, I'm gonna have to look at that again.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my gosh, ReAnimator.
Next time you watch ReAnimator, the part where like Bruce jumps over the naked body like in the hospital, like you can see like underneath bush there's Lang, man. I'm just like, oh, you adorable Stuart Gordon and Brian Usna, like all of those people, like they just make incredible movies. And like yeah, like From Beyond is like also like another one that's just like totally batshit insane, but it's still kind of like a serious movie at the same time. Like it's both.
Yeah, they're written very well. And ReAnimator, oh my goodness, I saw that movie probably so many times, and I just had to, you know, just recently I did a review on that, and you know I had my special guest, which was Barbara Crampton, and that was so awesome.
That's amazing.
ReAnimator is so great. It's so everybody. I think everybody can relate, you know, to Herbert West. I mean, he's a genius, but the way he goes about his experiments and get information and show what he can do, it's like, no, I could do it. But just look, like he's like that kid that wants to show you what he can do.
And like nobody believes him or takes him
yeah,
seriously.
Nobody believes him. So it feels like he has to force everything. No. The body has to be fresh. No. We have to do it this way. And it's like, just listen to the man. He is a genius. And I feel like I related to him in so many ways. And like you said, each character has some relation to each person. Like, but they're taken very seriously. It's good acting. It's not so cheesy where you just like, this movie, God. No,
yeah, like it's not garbage. Like
it's not garbage.
Like it has cheesy aspects to it. Like definitely, like obviously, like fucking. I mean, everybody always talks about the scene with Barbara, like almost getting like eaten out by a severed head. Like that part is just like so ludicrous, and like that's why I love Stuart Gordon, because like he thought of that, like his brain thought of that, and but at the same time, it's like, yeah, like you are invested in the characters, like because they deliver such great acting abilities that you actually like feel bad for them, like when they're in a like precarious situation, and or if someone dies and you're just like, oh no, like, you know what I mean? Like that's why I love that movie, and like most of that like group's movies, and they just work so well together.
They do.
But yeah, like I love the gore. The gore in that movie is just like fantastic. Like, and I love slime.
His wife, Stuart Gordon's wife, I think it's Caroline. Is it Caroline? Okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness. She knows how to play a bitch.
I know.
I mean, she's an expert.
Awesome.
She's probably the sweetest woman you could ever meet, but her character, she always plays like,
huge bitch, like in Dolls. Remember her in Dolls? Like,
yes!
Yeah, she rules. They did like
Fantasia
Fest was recently in Montreal, and they did like a virtual ReAnimator Zoom kind of like video thing, and I watched it, and like Carolyn Purdy was in it, and she was just like, the way that they were talking about like their experiences like working with Stuart and stuff, and like it was so emotional, and it was just so like incredible to be able to grow up with like these kinds of movies, because you know, like they are loved and cherished and appreciated, and these filmmakers like know that, like when they go to cons and like they meet people, they're just like, it's such an incredible experience to have that bond like with people that understand like their art, you know what I mean? But I would like rest in peace Stuart Gordon, but like I would love to just be in a room with like Jeffrey Combs and Brian Yuzna, and like just sit there and fucking talk about like all the funny shit that they used to do back then. Like, cause even like Brian Yuzna, he's also one of my favorite directors, and I was thinking, like, when you asked me to do this, I was like thinking about choosing Society.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, no, I can't, like, cause like ReAnimator is just like has like cheesier moments and stuff like that, but like, what wonderful human beings like seriously sat there and thought of like a face coming out of a butt and put it in a movie, you know what I mean? Like, bless them. I'm definitely gonna be tuning into your chat with Barbara.
You know, I've always seen the cover. I've never seen it until just recently, probably a few months back, and then I finally watched it because I've always seen that cover. I always see pictures, always see memes and forever, and I finally sat down, me and my boyfriend, we watched that, and we were just like, whoa.
Yeah, like the last 20 minutes of that movie is like pure insanity.
That orgy alone was just like, this is gross.
I know, I love it. Like everybody's just like morphing into each other.
But there's a message in that film. There's a message.
Yeah.
You know, the rich just consume. Yeah, the rich just consume and consume and consume the poor. Yeah, there's a big message. There's always a message in these kind of films. If you can get past the cheese, if you can get past some of the bad acting or good acting, or just the outrageous things, then there's a message. But I have to say, thank you so much for this. This was an unbelievable moment. This is really unbelievable. If you're watching, please continue your dreams. Work hard and do it, because you never know. Like I said, a year and a half ago, I just clicked on Instagram, Witch Finger Podcast, and followed you guys and followed the other ones, and Megan and Morgan. And then next thing you know, I'm sitting here with you. So please follow your dreams. Right? I don't want to make it emotional.
No, it's okay. Technology is a fantastic thing.
Recap really quickly. For my top three, I have The Nest, Deadly Spawns, and Street Trash. And yours is? Do you remember yours?
Troll 2, I know, right? I've only had one glass of wine. I chose Troll 2 and The Video Dead and ReAnimator. You know which one I almost chose though? Because I was like, the cheesiest one I can think of is like, besides Troll 2, is Terror Vision.
Oh!
Now that is a fun, cheesy movie.
It is a fun, cheesy movie.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much, Yas.
Of course. Of course.
Thank you so much. She's from, Rue Morgue's The Rewind Zone. She is the host and writer of that. And also, Witchfinger Horror Podcast. That's where you could find her. You could actually type it in, and that will only come up.
Yeah, we're actually like, I'm like, it's astounding that we actually got our domain name very easily, like witchfinger.com. We're like, hey, it's not taken. Yeah. Yeah,
So,
and
thank you so much.
Zone video coming out soon, and yeah, like definitely stay connected, share.
Thank you so much, and you have fun.
Of course.
The rest of your evening, and thanks guys for watching.
Yes, thanks everybody for commenting. Sorry we couldn't like comment back. We were just,
I know.
we were just like getting too heated talking about like pieces of movies. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, I hope everybody has a good night. We'll definitely do this again, and I hope you also have a wonderful evening. And it was
Thank you
awesome
so much.
Thank you so much for asking me to be on your show.
Thank you. We have to do this again.
100%.